This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Butter pecan ice cream is a classic American flavor, and what I've done is taken a rich vanilla ice cream and add these sauteed pecans to it. Now, to get started, we first want to get 2 cups of a 2% milk and put it in a medium-sized saucepan. And we're going to take that over to the stove and put it on a medium heat. And we want to bring this to a boil, but that takes about 12 to 13 minutes. So while the milk is heating up, we can go ahead and separate 5 egg yolks out. And the way I do that is I get 3 bowls. And in the smallest bowl, I go ahead and separate the egg, getting the egg white captured in the bowl and the yolk captured in 1/2 of the shell. And then I can go ahead and put the egg yolk in with the egg yolks, put the egg white in with the egg whites, and that way if an egg were to break or I get too much shell that I can't get out, the other egg yolks are just fine. Now our milk is still heating up, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our 5 egg yolks and put it into the mixer with the whisk attachment, and then we're going to add 1/2 plus 2 tablespoons of sugar, and we're going to let that whip together for about 2 minutes. Now, as you can see, we're beginning to develop a little bit of a skin on top of this milk, and we can see some movement under it. That means that it is coming to a boil. And what we're going to do is pull it off the stove, and we're going to take it over to the mixer after the eggs have beaten together for 2 minutes. And we're just going to slowly add that hot milk to the eggs. And you'll notice I'm putting just a tablespoon or so at a time to get started. If we were to just put all of the hot milk in, the eggs would start to scramble and it would make a lumpy ice cream that wouldn't be great. So just take your time and get all that hot milk into the eggs. Then you're going to take that pan and put it right back on the stove, but on a low temperature. And then we're going to take the eggs and we're going to take them and go ahead and pour them right into that saucepan. Now, what we need to do now is get ourselves one of the heat-resistant spatulas or a wooden spoon, and we're going to start stirring. And we need to stay with this for a couple of minutes because what we're going to do is bring the temperature up to 170 degrees. That way the eggs are cooked all the way through, but not too much. So once we hit 170, we pull it off the heat, and I have my large measuring cup with a strainer sitting on top, and we're going to put that mixture right through the strainer, and I'll show you why. As the eggs are cooking, even though we're doing it slowly, you'll find that some solids will already start to form, and there they are in the strainer, so we want to get that out of the ice cream. Now this mixture is too hot to put in the refrigerator, so let it sit out for about a half an hour just to bring it down to lukewarm. Then cover it with some plastic wrap and you'll put it into the refrigerator for 2 to 3 hours until it's totally cold. Now, right before you're going to start freezing the ice cream, get a small saucepan on low heat, and we're going to melt 4 tablespoons of butter. And then we're going to add 1 cup of pecan halves. And then we're going to also add to that about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. What we're doing here is really building the flavor of this ice cream. We're bringing out the flavor of the pecans, and we're flavoring the butter with the nuts. Now, after about 5 minutes, we're going to need to separate the butter from the pecans. So I just use a slotted spoon and I pull out all the pecans, draining them off as best as I can, and set them in a separate bowl. And once I get them all taken out of the butter, they're going to go into the freezer for a few minutes to start to chill down. And then I'm going to drain off the butter into a small dish because I'm going to be adding that to the ice cream. So here is our nice cold custard, and I'm first going to start by adding 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then I'm going to add the melted butter. Now, don't forget, you've got to get those pecans into the freezer so they will start to chill down. You don't want to put hot pecans into your ice cream. Then we get our ice cream machine set up, and we want to go ahead and take it apart. We want to get our chilled bowl out of the freezer and put that on, put the dasher on next, and then the top. And then we want this to start running because that's how we want it to be going when we put our ice cream in. And now you see why I like this large measuring cup. We go ahead and we pour in our custard. It's got the vanilla and the butter in it, which is great. And we're going to go ahead and this is going to churn for about 15 minutes. And after about 15 minutes, it's going to start looking pretty thick. And then what we're going to do is get those pecans out of the freezer and we're going to go ahead and add them into the top. And then we're going to process this for about another 5 minutes. So our ice cream is done, and if you look at it, it's almost kind of like soft serve. You really couldn't scoop it at this point. So the next step is to harden this off, and what that means is you go ahead and you take the ice cream out of the chilled bowl, and you just put it in another container that can go into the freezer. And what we want to do then is just leave it in there for about an hour or so, or as long as you want, really. And that hardens it off and makes it easy to scoop. So butter pecan ice cream made with real butter and real pecans. What a concept. Well, this ice cream just explodes with flavor, and it's so simple. If you want to give it a try, just go to our website and visit the Sundays with Cindy show notes. I'll have the recipe there for you. And don't forget to sign up for our monthly newsletter. You know, we put out about 42 original episodes every month of all of our shows, and this newsletter will give you a direct link to all of them. And of course, if you have any questions, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.